You're suddenly a Colorado Buffaloes football fan, but you don't actually know anything about the program other than prime time. Well, don't worry. Here at the Hit Stick, we got you covered. We got the Cliff Notes version of the Colorado Buffaloes collegiate football program. Now, while the school is actually called the University of Colorado, in a move that defies logic, it's referred to as CU instead of UC. Nobody exactly knows why, and it seems nobody really cares. But if you don't want to look like an asshole when you refer to the school, make sure you call it CU. Of course, if you really want to seem like you're in the know, you can just call it Boulder. As in, I'm going to Boulder to catch the Deion show, or you can get some good-ass weed in Boulder. CU fans are often heard chanting the phrase, "Sko Buffs," which is a shortened version of "Let's go Buffs." And while SCO is not much easier to say than let's go, when you live a mile above sea level, you have to be efficient with your breath. In fact, the high altitude in Boulder provides one of the best home field advantages in all of college football. And fun fact, you get drunk a lot faster in higher altitudes, which might explain some of the outfits these CU fans wear. The team mascot is Ralphie, a buffalo. Actually, a bison to be precise. There's a team of 15 to 18 varsity athletes that are responsible for training Ralphie. I'm not sure what this guy's doing, and I'm not sure I want to know. 5 of the team members run her across the field before every home game. Currently, the squad is on Ralphie 6. Whenever a Ralphie dies, the offensive line and defensive line pay tribute by having an eating contest to see who can eat the most Ralphie burgers. But it is true that Ralphie can reach a top speed of about 25 miles per hour on a run across the field at home games. Now, Boulder's located about 30 to 40 minutes outside of Denver. Many say it's a beautiful college town set amongst majestic mountains. I've been there. It's beautiful. It's also very boring. I mean, sure, if you like skiing and hiking, it's probably amazing, but I don't. The mountains do make a pretty dope background for games, though. Most of the students there are white and were mediocre high school students with very rich parents. Most of them went to Boulder not to go to class, but to ski and smoke weed. Most of them know a few songs by Migos, but don't know who the rest of these celebrity rappers are that keep showing up on the sidelines. And they probably won't know any of these rappers unless Mac Miller suddenly rises from the dead and makes an appearance. The town of Boulder is 88% white, 9% Asian, and less than 1% black, while the university is 66% white, 12% Latino, 9% Asian, 7% international, and about 2.5% black. Last year, CU's fan base was 92% white, but this year, it's definitely looking a little different. Now, Colorado plays in the Pac-12, which unfortunately is disbanding and will no longer exist starting in 2024, because, greed. Currently, there are 8 Pac-12 teams ranked in the top 25, and 5 of those teams are ranked ahead of Colorado. Once Pac-12 season play starts, we're going to see just how real this team is. Now, the Buffaloes last won a national championship, their lone national championship, in 1990. Well, they sort of won it. This was before the BCS existed and before the season's college football champion was determined by a 14 playoff each year. Instead, the champion each season was determined by 2 polls, the coaches poll and the AP poll. Pretty brilliant idea to go with 2 polls, right? I mean, who would have ever seen a split champion scenario with just 2 polls? In 1990, the Buffs finished the season 11-1-1 and were voted number 1 in the AP poll over Georgia Tech by a vote of 39-20. Georgia Tech finished 11-0-1 and won the coaches poll by a single vote over CU, so they ended up splitting the title. That 1990 Buffs squad was led by Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, the same dude that served as offensive coordinator for the KC Chiefs and then left to take on the same OC role with the Washington Commanders. I guess he figured Andy Reid isn't retiring anytime soon, and Ron Rivera might be out of a job real soon with Sam Howell as his first-string quarterback. Now, Bieniemy was a star running back and finished 3rd in the Heisman voting in 1990, behind BYU's Ty Detmer and Notre Dame's Rocket Ishmael. Bieniemy, who's just 5'7", rushed for over 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns that year. But there wasn't just the controversy about the national championship vote in 1990. In the 6th game of its season, Colorado played Missouri on the road. There were several lead changes throughout the game, but Colorado had it at the end down 31-27 with under 3 minutes to play. The Buffs drove down the field, got a 1st and goal, and on 1st down, they spiked the ball to stop the clock. On 2nd down, Bieniemy was stopped short of the goal line. Colorado called a timeout, and during the break, the chain crew forgot to change the marker to read third down instead of second down. Maybe this was because the quarterback spike was a newly legal move, or maybe it was because the chain crew member was distracted during the timeout because there were actually emergency medical personnel giving CPR to a man in the stands, or there could have been any other number of reasons. Maybe there was a hot girl in the crowd. Maybe he was thinking about the laundry list of to-do items his wife gave him to handle when he got home. In any case, Bieniemy was stopped again the next play, which meant it should have brought up fourth down. On the next play, quarterback Charles Johnson spiked the ball. That should have meant Missouri got the ball back, effectively ending the game. But everyone thought that was third down, and now it was fourth down. And on the next play, which would later be known as the fifth down, Johnson kept the ball and crossed the goal line for the winning score. Only many people believe he didn't actually cross the goal line. After about a 20-minute delay, the touchdown was given to Colorado, who would win the game 33-31 and go on to win the national championship. But that game would cast doubt on their claim to the title. In the Orange Bowl that season, which took place on January 1st of 1991, Colorado faced Notre Dame in a rematch of the previous year's Orange Bowl, which Notre Dame won convincingly. But the rematch would not be without its own controversy. With 43 seconds left on the clock and Colorado leading 10-9, the Buffs punted to Heisman runner-up Rocket Ismail, who returned the punt 92 yards for an electric touchdown, which was then controversially called back for a clipping penalty. Colorado would go on to win and be crowned co-champs for the season. The other most notable Colorado game of all time, just so you know, was from 1994 and would later be known as the Miracle at Michigan. Trailing 26-21 with 6 seconds left, standout quarterback Cordell Stewart heaved the ball more than 70 yards with a Hail Mary. Now, there was a planned deflection from fellow Buff Blake Anderson to star wide receiver Michael Westbrook, who caught the touchdown to give the Buffs a 27-26 win. Of note, the other wide receiver on that play, none other than Ray Caruth, the guy who planned and participated in a hit on his pregnant girlfriend and went on to serve 18 years in prison. Some of the most notable players in recent Colorado history include wide receivers Charles Johnson and Michael Westbrook, running back Eric Bieniemy, who finished third in Heisman voting, and running back Rashaan Salam, who won the Heisman but sadly was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in his car in Boulder in 2016. There was also quarterback Cordell Stewart, the ultimate Swiss Army knife, longtime Steelers NFL QB, who sometimes played wide receiver and sometimes lined up at running back. There's also outside linebacker Alfred Williams, cornerback Deion Figures, and kicker Mason Crosby. Also, running back Philip Lindsay, who went undrafted and then proceeded to live in his parents' basement outside of Denver while playing running back for the Denver Broncos and having back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. So what else should you know about the Buffs? You'll probably see a lot about how last year's team only won one game, and this year has started 3-0, the ultimate turnaround. But keep in mind, this is more of a program turnaround than a team turnaround. There are 86 new players on the roster this year, and only 10 scholarship players remain from last year's team. This was by design, as new head coach Deion Sanders knew a major overhaul was needed to turn the program around. So if you jumped on the bandwagon this season, you already know the rest of the story. The Buffs are 3-0, heading to play Oregon, and then heading to play USC as Pac-12 season play starts. But now you know some of the history of the Colorado football program, and at least you can pretend you're not just jumping on the bandwagon this season.